Thank you for the follow. I'm assuming you're a bot from how your name is described. Nice. Oops, except you aren't showing me picture diff. All right, so this is easier for a quick at-a-glance comparison because I'm trying to regenerate the exact same file and doing so from the struct that I generate. So it's a bit of a pain. This makes it a little easier, I guess, because we know that 2e is written in the BSP encode right here. So immediately my offset is incorrect. So what is my offset and what should it be? So, well, what I need to do is keep out over here. I have 280. And it wants look at that, I'm getting questions. Does your custom loading screen require any changes client side? I'm helping Void with the new iteration of BZT's with BVB box. Well, you need to replace the CLC Let me see if that's what he's asking about. After the 2E, this one I have 0058, which is interesting. Is it because the true value is an 832 Little Indian? I think that's the real reason. And then there's what, 31 bytes? Let's verify that real quick. And my phone's going off for some reason. Why? All right, so if that's the case, the value should be 31, and it should be int 4, or a 4 by int. So let's test this real quick. I write out the offset first. There's no way this is 31. Let's re-verify that size and offset are true. Oh, they are in 32. Okay. So that's the first issue. And you figure this means this is 23 instead of my 119. Let's give that a whirl. We don't need this breakpoint anymore. Okay. If we go back to the comparison tool, oh, this doesn't refresh? Come on. How do I refresh you easily? Do I have to reopen everything? Yeah, you're no good. I have to do it my way. I almost feel like I'm better off detaching this into its own window. So I can get it all prepped easily. Like this. And basically, there's no way to easily compare, it looks like. Okay. So we got IBSP, 2E, B8. What did this one have now? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is this incorrect? So 2E, and then it has essentially, with an int 32, it has 8,024. And I have 3,939,000. Holy crap, why am I so off? All right, I gotta double check how I'm doing this and why I'm having it wrong. It's 23 after entity info. Let's break and see how big the length of entity info is actually. Because you figure this is 4, 5, 6. I think these numbers are just magic, and that's one of my issues. Okay, so offset is currently 6, that's right. And the length of entity info is making size to 153. Now, if we go back, we look at this value, it's at int 32, it's 8,000. How come I 8,000? 2E, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 31. That's what it should be, right? I'm getting 153. 153 looks right, but this is for the offset. Why is I mean, this offset right here is 98. Where's 98 on this list? There's 9A, 154. Am I ordering it wrong? Is that what's going on here? Let's double check. When I read there's a dir entries entry that gets written out. So I'm missing dir entries, which in this case is 31. Ah, that's weird. There's actually 31 entries. Let's test this. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's only 2, so it's an 816, right? Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 31. This is the number of directory entries, I believe. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm off. Not sure what I'm doing wrong. Well, we know the decoder should be about right. And all the decoder does is we read the header, and the header is just 6 bytes. No, it's 8 bytes. There's an issue. You know what I'm actually going to do is in my DSP, I'm going to put a header. And I'm not going to make it a pointer. During decode, there's IBSP in the byte thing look like? Isn't that just 20? Yeah, let's just do it. 49, 42, 53, 52. 50. So now we know that version is 32 bytes. And each version is the exact same, which is essentially 2E. And now what we can do is say, I think this will fix it. And then during the encode step, all I have to do now is put it right to the header. Why are you unhappy with this? Okay, let's run it. During the encode step, let's go ahead and get back to the file. So my output file currently has the header correct, 2E000. So this one has 58. This one has 1F. Why does this have 8,024 and this one has 31? Okay, so let's figure that out real quick. So I wrote the header, and on this version, I get the number of entries. So dir entries, let's go back to dir entries, which is an array of 19 entries. So this is all the different offsets. Which each one is about int32 in size. So the first offset is at 8,000 is what it's basically trying to say. Which is a little weird because no. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we get 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not right. 31 is closer. But 0? That's not right. $8,024. 154. 220. So that's really how it's writing. So this should be 31, which it is. Why is this wrong there? 28, then 1F, which should be 58 1F. Why is this 8,000? 24. Not fully sure on this one. I'm going to just write it hard-coded for now. Verify if I got this correct, and then I can move on. Yeah, so you can see here it's 8,024, Not fully sure why. Next we write the offset. (58.1F) 000. I am a byte or two off. This is 9A. 154. This is 159. And this was me writing the offset. I think this is because I'm 5 bytes off. So it's because I added here, and this is 789. Okay. So let's go ahead and rerun. See if we get these bytes correct. We're now getting 164. And I'm supposed to be getting 154. Is that right? How did I get 164? I'm supposed to get 154. So it's 10 off. 1 byte? That doesn't sound right. Let's test that though. Yeah. Interesting. All right, so we have 164. Then we move over 4 bytes, and then we get 153 versus 220. Interesting. Why is my size off? After the 220, I get 154 versus 72. To double check, am my size offset correct? Because you figure every entry is offset size. And if we write here, we write offset then size, offset then size. And if we go back to this, are any of these correct? How am I getting everything off? Let's see. I do get A002 correct. The byte offset's wrong. This is off. C6 is also off. The C4 is correct. And the CC is correct. So there's something wrong with how I'm setting up one of these byte orders. I'm trying to see why. Pretty sure this is length. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to write out each entry. And the moment the entry finishes, I'll break. And then I can follow along as it writes each one. See where my mess ups are. Easy. Okay, so this is the first offset for entity info. Here's the last byte written. And you can see here, why is there a plus sign? Probably because there's a writer. Up to this point, we're perfect. Okay, so let's continue. So now we just wrote the size. And at this point, we are off DC or 220, 153. I am 67 bytes off. The size does not include the offset. Yeah. Why am I 67 bytes off? Is it because of how I read the fixed string? Let's do this. We are going to parse the fixed string on here. Let's stop. Retry. How big is this string that comes in? It's 154. It's a 9A. Right? So when I parse this, I get this long ass string. And that 154 becomes this big. You get that incorporated now. Getting 182. Weird. I think my fixed string reader is not right because the size is supposed to be 154. I read in this byte data. I need to keep the zeros. Let's see if that helps. This is 154, right? And this final has an extra 0. 186. Well, the issue is all these new lines are being parsed without becoming new lines. That's not right, is it? Yeah, see, my new lines are being literals, and they need to be converted back to their non-character format. So does that clean that up? Let's see. I don't know how to put a single quote in an escape character. I don't think I need to do this, honestly. How do I easily convert a fixed string over? I could use partial. Maybe that'll do it. No. Called CLEN. According to this, these are not very clean, are they? I need to think about how I can easier parse this fixed string. You know, this could be right. And I could be over engineering this. Like, I don't need the switch. Just convert my characters, bring it back. Let's actually just print out final. See what it looks like. When everything's said and done. So I might be just going over Delve's styling. Yeah, you can see here, it's perfect. The new lines are properly parsed, the zero's taken out. And even though the zero's there, that's fine. That's what we need for the final file. So let's do this. Length final. It's 154, which with zero included, Yeah, 154 is perfect. So why am I getting this wrong? What is the length of entity info? Size 154. Okay, so let's backtrack. I'm putting 155, and I need to be 154. This is the offset, but this is also the size. So what you're telling me is offset starts at 0. So now we have 154. Continue. Then we have 154 again, which this is saying it's 220. I feel like offset might be wrong. Because 66 bytes, this is like offset data. Did I mess this up with entry? Let's go back to the beginning. So you have offset and length. It's always a multiple of 4. Why am I getting 9? It's kind of weird. 154, 220. Let's keep going now. So next we write 9A. And I'm supposed to have 72. Dude, this is totally size. So we know this is roughly 154. And that's correct. So every entry is exactly 76 bytes. Did I mess these values up? Because planes should be 16. I got planes right. Looks like textures I'm off by 6. Or 4, I guess. And then 36.8. I feel like I should be adding these as their own little consts. We call them like basically the same as these. And just call them by size. Like this. Now, when we decode you can go up to the top, and every entity we don't really have a size for. These are 76, 16, 36, 8, 4, 4, 40, 12, 44, 44, 4, 22, 8, 4,190, 21,000 basically. 8, done. What this will let me do now, per entry versus data size. Oh, per entry light columns. Or size is important. Per entry light map size. Per entry faces size. Per entry effect size. Per entry mesh verts. Per entry vertexes. Per entry brush sizes. Per entry brushes. Per entry model size. Configure size. Move brushes size. Leaf size. Node size. Planes. Textures. There. Now, assuming I didn't break anything. Yeah, so this still looks clean. But now what I can do is do the exact same ordeal during encoding, as I use these bytes when I'm clear extra entry plane size. Entry leaf size. Faces size. Brushes size. Cool. Still don't fully know the 8024 hardcode, but for the time being, we're just testing the rest and see if we can get this going. Because we parse the entity info, then we take every one of these, and we actually read in, like for example, for text here, we take 76, why is entity size here? There's a comment. Oh, it's because it's on the top. It's interesting. There we go. All right, let's try this again. Let's review. So we get 154, and 9A is correct. DC is off. again by like 220-ish. And then immediately after we say 9A, which should be 48. So this should be 72 on the next offset. Wait, am I on decode still? Yeah, I'm about to do all of the decoding. Why am I breakpoint? There we go. So, at this point, we're still green. Then we write the size, which is not green. The size is off, but this is based on offset. I think it's the real issue. Because this is supposed to be a DC, which is it literally just DC? No, it can't be. Right? DC is literally DC is textures offset. I mean, that could be right. See, one thing that's an issue with this parser is it skips this I love my Quake remap to message. Like this is embedded into the BSP file and it's never actually documented on this document. So this is not Q3 map to source code. What I want to look like finding. There we go. Of course, let's look for the search of I love my. Here it is. During the RSVP process, this is a file print during the marker. Here we go. So we read the header. We take the version. We write the initial header, which is out header. Maybe out header defined. And then we make a marker lump. And then we add the lump. And you can see here, make BSB size, and how many it wrote the completed header. So what it does is go back to the beginning of the file and then writes the header at the end, which makes sense. They take the header, they jump. When they add the lump, they put the offset basically in the header. They take the BSP size All right, so we got to put this thing in. Okay, this makes more sense. Though it still kind of throws me off, but I get the idea now. We write the header. The other thing that's interesting is they have shaders for ours. When we write BSP, we write entities. So we have entities, planes, leaves. And this one has like nodes is off. Nodes is in the wrong order. Interesting. Does this correspond with what OpenZone requires? So this is an interesting part of this. They actually look for the word world spawn. And they also use deathmatch plus speaker, sound emitters, if it's a world spawn or a target speaker, then begin this stuff. Assuming this isn't commented out, we actually load entities. It'll actually take the player deathmatch angle and code that in. I wonder what this position's used for, though. The block's index name is class name. It adds to the entity list. So I think you can actually create spawn data from a Quake 3 file. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. Load all the BSP data for the alert level. Begin. Include trailing path delimiters. Assign the file. Load the BSP. Take the header. And then we immediately go into entities. Initialize the header in lump structures. So we skip the header data as well. This immediately goes into entities and then textures. For me, entities, textures. And then this guy has no entities or textures, or it does down here. Textures are called shaders. Entities is down below though. How is this ordering so different? Our BSP file? You think it's the wrong file type? So BSP file, IBSP, shaders planes, shaders planes. That's super interesting. Like, let me double check the add bump function maybe. You can see here during add lump, it does the safe write. Yeah, these are writing the file out, but they're doing a different order. Oh, they're writing it to the header. And they don't actually write it until here, when the header's complete. Still super weird. Or no, it does, like add lump file using the header. So why does Quake 3 map to... This is a Raven BSP file. This is an id-based BSP file. So this is supposed to write the same as mine. Interesting. The part I'm kind of missing though is there's the advertising. This one has fogs and indexes. Which we don't get fogs and indexes on ours. I'm gonna have to research this later. Anyways, if you've been watching, thanks. I'm gonna probably stop for now. It's being a little conundrumish. I gotta clear my head, probably eat breakfast, and then review all this again and see why my decoder seems pretty accurate. Until I make the writer though, I can't really have confidence in it, and I'm still working on that. But I'm on the right track. Once we have the BSP loading and unloading proper, the next big step would be taking the world data and starting to convert the BSP over. And once I get that done, I'll be able to ideally bidirectionally save WLD files at least. I think my S3D file is actually perfect now. I'm gonna double check that just as a distraction here for a moment. Why am I paused? Oh wait, you're not having the right file. PFS test, render bug. I think the CRCs are off, but the actual data I think is pretty good. Let's double check for fun. Wow, we immediately have issues with alignment because you can see here I have the PFS. Oh yeah, I got a mess on a file. Well, more things to do. In fact, this file sizes are not even comparable. So I got an S3D writer to do too. Lots of work.